In many of the cases, they also gave extortion money to these extortionists. They are scared for their families.
Some people will not come forward because they're afraid. Don't be afraid. Your police service is here to protect you.
Same extortionists, the police caught them again and again.
Some people should be released on bail. Absolutely agree with that. Walked out into a parking lot, done another carjacking, stolen another car. Those aren't just, those stories aren't created for drama.
So changes required in the criminal code?
I think there's changes required.
Deputy Chief Nick Milanovic, thank you for giving us this time, because public safety is one of the core issue which the South Asian community considers, because the extortions were going on since a long time. And first of all, thanks for giving us the time today.
No, you know what, Neetan, I have to say thank you for taking the opportunity and your time, really. And thank you to you and really all of our media partners, because the work we do, it is incredibly important that we share that with the community. So I really appreciate you taking the time to provide us with an opportunity to provide an update on what is happening in the area of extortions.
Thank you. And Extortion Investigative Task Force was launched 8 months ago in January this year. We would like to know what are the results, how many calls received, what is the outcome of EITF, and any data you want to share with us.
No, and so first off, when we started to have these issues, you would recall in December of last year, we were one of the first police services to begin an extortion task force. Since that time, we have continued to invest in it as a police service. It's actually one of our larger investigative bodies, and the results speak for themselves. We've had roughly since that time 28 shootings associated to extortions being investigated by the task force, and we have arrested and charged 18 different individuals. So like in keeping with the way that Peel Regional Police approaches things, if you come to our community and you engage in crimes like extortions, we are going to pursue you and we are going to arrest and charge you. So we're keeping true to that promise, and it's something that we're still deeply invested in. And I have to tell you, we are not done with this. It's months later. We're still deeply invested in it. We have well over 20 officers, like some of our best investigators attached to this, accepting reports and continuing to pursue the people that are attempting to target our community. Deputy,
what is the reason like many victims, they don't come forward? They are scared for their families, and in many of the cases, they also gave extortion money to these extortionists. Any such kind of reports you have?
Yeah, so the reports we get are the ones that are associated to the people that have come forward. So when you ask me, basically you're asking me, why aren't people coming forward?
Yes.
I have to tell you, I really believe, and I don't have anything that I could put my finger on to prove this, but almost immediately, one of the things that we recognized is some people will not come forward because they're afraid.
Yes.
And so when you ask me, why don't people come forward? It's fear. And the motivation for that fear could be a number of things. Either retaliation from the people that are extorting them, their own personal situation. Regardless, I believe the issue or the reason why people don't come forward is because they're afraid.
Yes.
And so what I would say to them, and I would say to your audience, is don't be afraid. Your police service is here to protect you. We will not allow people from outside of our community to come and target our community. Our police service is here to protect you, to prevent the violence from happening, and to pursue the people that are coming to our community and targeting our community. So do not be afraid. We are here to help.
Thank you for that, giving confidence to the community. The reports which we get, that many people, as you said, they are scared. They have a fear that these extortionists, when they are out on bail, they may harm us. And as you said that 18 of them were arrested, why can't we keep them behind the bars for a longer time, so that people, they come forward, they report it to the police, and they feel secure? Because that is one of the gray area when these extortionists, they are out again and again, and we saw those pictures on the media also, that same extortionist, the police caught them again and again.
Definitely, and completely understandable. So, and I really think this is one of the things that defines and sets our police service apart from a lot of police services. So the reality is we do see quite often that people whom we've arrested with firearms-related offenses, violent offenses, they are re-released.
Yes.
So there's two things that we do as a police service. If a person is a risk to the community and they are released, quite often you see and you hear that we rearrest them. It's because we identify that as a risk to the community, we continue the investigation, and we're happy to send them back to jail, again, for a second time. We share some of those stats. We're happy to do that as a police service. But having said that, we don't stop there. The other thing that we do is we advocate for change. We're talking about, the release of repeat violent offenders. And the reality is, some people should be released on bail. Absolutely agree with that. The vast majority of people, they make a mistake, there's an issue, they've broken a crime, and they're safe to be released with certain conditions and they will abide by them. What we're targeting as a police services is the people who should not be released. It's a small percentage of that portion of people that we charge that present and continue to present risk to the community. And, to us, it's very obvious. And, in order to support that, I would talk about our firearms-related offenses and arrests. The vast majority of people that we currently arrest with firearms-related offenses are released on bail. You've heard the stories of a person who's done a carjacking, walked out into a parking lot, done another carjacking, stolen another car. Those aren't just, those stories aren't created for drama. Those stories are the reality of what's happening here. So as a police service, we continue to advocate with the people who have the ability to make those changes, to make the changes so that happens less often. And it's
changes required in the criminal code? Or?
I think there's changes required. It's a complex question. So in a variety of different spaces. So, when we talk about bail, who owns what piece of the change that's required, it's not just one entity.
Okay.
So of course, there's the criminal code, there is the justice system, police needs to look at itself. Like there's a lot of different spaces that touch, or entities that touch that space. And without blame, we need to look at how we're providing community safety to our community, and identifying spaces where we can all be better. And that's where we get into the advocacy. As a police service, and I'll use the Extortion Task Force as an example, it became a big issue really, really quickly. So as a police service, we mobilized, we invested resources, and we've continued to do that. Substantial resources on the issue. We continue to arrest, investigate, and we're doing everything we should as a police service, I believe. But there are gaps, as you identified. There are people who at times are released and then they reoffend. So the question then becomes, well, who can help in that space? We identify who owns the ability to make changes there, and then we advocate on behalf of the community. We've received tremendous support from our provincial government. We've had conversations with our federal government, and we're going to continue to do that and share the voice of our community with the people who can make the changes. Sometimes that is in the criminal code. Sometimes that's other spaces in the justice community and system. And the reality is collectively, we all own that responsibility. And what we do know is our community at times doesn't feel safe. So collectively, we all own the responsibility to make sure that they do, but I may not be the one that can wave a wand and make that change. And when I can't do that, I will go to the person or the group that can, and I will ask them for those changes. And this is why I say this sets us apart from a lot of policing, I believe, is we're willing to pursue those opportunities, and we do it on behalf of the Peel community.
And this extortion is not a Peel region issue only, this is Canada-wide, because we have seen the extortion in Edmonton, Alberta, and British Columbia, and Surrey, and Abbotsford. All those places across Canada, these are going on.
Completely. It is not just a Peel region, and it's not just a Canadian one, it's international. Probably some of the most complex issues, whether it be extortion, auto thefts, carjacking, proliferation of firearms, those aren't exclusive to Peel, and nor are the answers in resolving them. And that's why we invest so much time in building partnerships with not just Canadian partners, but internationally. The answers or the solutions to the things that we're feeling here in Peel are not always located in Peel. And again, we pursue those. Peel is an incredibly diverse, vibrant community. We are like a local representation of the world, and it's amazing. Sometimes that carries with it other issues that also arrive here in Peel. And in order to find the solutions, we cannot just focus on Peel. So we pursue them nationally, internationally as well.
In the extortion, how many people arrested by Peel police, they were repeated offenders, they were out on bail? Any such data?
Yeah, so we've arrested a total of 18 people so far. And I have to tell you, and I'll share this with the audience, we're not done yet.
Okay.
There's going to be more arrests.
Yeah.
So, come to Peel, engage in crime, and target our community. You can expect to be arrested and charged.
So 18 of them were repeated?
No, 18 so far we've arrested, and one of them, probably the most popular that you've seen, was a repeat offender in the area of extortion. And again, was arrested and sent back to jail where he belongs.
And what is the situation today as we are sitting off this day? Still calls are coming to the South Asian community, or calls has gone down, and the shootings also?
So as I mentioned, there's been a total of 28 shootings associated to extortions. The flow of those calls has begun to subside. At the beginning, there were a lot, and they were coming in fast and furious. But I also want to point out the fact, just because they're slowing, we're not done. So a person commits a crime like this 1 year, 2 year, 3 years ago, we'll be done when that person's held accountable for it. So they have started to slow. We're having fewer reports, but just because we're having fewer reports, until we attach a name to that incident, we're not done yet. And that's why the team continues to progress and really pursue the people that are responsible for those charges or for those incidents.
Deputy Chief, final message to the South Asian business community, those who never came forward, those who are scared because their families are scared, your message to them for their safety.
My message is simple, and I'll turn and talk to the audience that presumably is going to watch this. You need to really understand and believe that Peel Regional Police is your police service. You do not need to be afraid to report this to us. A person receives an extortion and they share that with their family. They tell their family what's happening, and they're concerned. Maybe they don't want to report it to the police because of fear, like we talked about. But what you need to understand is, as a police organization, we are here to support you and protect you, very similarly to the way that your family is. So please come forward. Your report may draw the link between somebody else's incident and another one, and may lead us to the person that's responsible for that. And if you can do that, and we can put that person in handcuffs and charge them with that offense, it will benefit you, your family, and our entire community. And that's what we are committed to.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you.